Hey there guys, welcome back to ARTFX Studios. This is another video and today it's really hot. The heat is insane, so I have my fan right there. If you hear any wind noise, that's because of that. Today I want to show you how to create a metallic sounding bass. I've created a small little clip. I haven't spent too much time on it, so it sounds a little bit cheesy, but it is there to demonstrate the sound. There's two sounds in here, a growl and a more metallic bass sound, and we're going to be talking about the metallic bass sound. So it sounds like this. So yeah, let's just get to it. Let's disable the drums for now, and let's disable the growl as well so we can focus on the metallic sounding bass. I'm going to turn off everything that I have on here, and let me go inside Serum. So the main thing of this sound is it's coming from this particular wavetable. It's the BSOD square, which you can find in the analog section right there. It's sort of like a square wave with slightly different harmonics. And by default, it's not really doing much. Oh yeah, I have the LFO number 1, which is the main LFO that I'm using to create the movement. I have that connected to the level so that it sort of like turns on and off. Then I have macro number 2, which is this one, which is connected to the LFO rate. So this is actually changing the rate of the LFO. I can do that. And when we look at the macro control right here, you can see what I'm doing. So by automating that macro knob, we can change the rate of this, and because it's synced to the tempo, it will always be in sync. Now, the majority of this sound comes from FMing this wavetable with another waveform. And I've chosen a triangle wave. So we have our normal BSOD square just at octave 0. And then I have a triangle wave put up 3 semitones. And you can see I'm using the FM from B. So I'm actually using the triangle wave to FM the first waveform. So by doing that, we already get a lot more of that metallic character. So the amount of FM really changes the way this sounds. So you might want to play around with that. You can see right here I have it at 52%, so it's slightly above halfway. I then decided to also put the LFO on the wavetable position, just to give it a slightly bit more interest, I guess. It's not really needed. It's a really small change, but I felt it sounded quite good with that. Then I decided to add some white noise, and I'm also using LFO number 1 to control that. And that white noise just adds slightly more harmonics, slightly more upper frequencies, and it makes it sound a little bit more distorted, which is pretty cool. Then we have the sub, of course, and I gotta turn on the noise, of course, otherwise we don't hear it. So then the sub, again, I'm using LFO number 1 to play around with the level so that it sort of like follows the main patch. It's not just a constant sub, it's actually following the movement. And because I'm also using LFO number 1 to do that, it's also going to copy over that automation that we have right here. Let me bring that down. So that's mostly it for this sound. There's one more thing I decided to do, and I added a bend plus minus to this, and I'm using macro number 1 to change the position of that bending mode. So I can bypass this modulation. So by default it will be right in the center, like that. But when I bring it all the way down, or all the way up, you can hear I'm really changing the way this sounds. And if I bring this down to halfway, you can see that you get a lot of different types of characters out of just one sound. So I decided to control this with a macro knob, and this makes it more easier to automate this because you now have that macro knob, and you can actually also connect this to other things just to create even more interest. And that's basically it for the patch in Serum. There's no effects, there's no filter, and that's about all the modulation that you need for this sound. Then that is running through an audio effect rack, and this audio effect rack will only emphasize the metallic character of the sound. So how do you make a sound more metallic sounding? Well, most of the metallic sounds are created using FM synthesis because that already creates that phasey, harsh FM kind of sound. And when you add slight, really short delays or reverb to the sound, it will in fact make it sound more metallic. So I decided to do that with a delay. By default, your delay will be set to sync mode and usually be at either 3 or 4. What I've done is I put this to 1, and then I turned this down to the time setting, and I also enabled the link mode, so it's actually the same for both the left and right channel. And what I'm doing is I'm adding this amount of delay. It's 10.3 milliseconds, and then I'm using a medium feedback. I'm just blending it in with a dry wet. And what you're gonna get is when you change the milliseconds, is that you're actually gonna slightly alter the pitch of the sound. And by playing around with the amount of milliseconds, with the amount of delay, you can actually change the character of the sound, and you can make it sound less or more robotic, sometimes even less or more hollow sounding, which is pretty cool. So this is without the delay, and this is with the delay. So you can hear it slightly sounds like the pitch has changed, but the pitch is still the same. It's just that delay is affecting the sound in such a way that it seems like the pitch is changing. Then I also added a really short reverb. I took out all the low end on this one, and I kept the high end alone. And I really brought down that size and the decay time a lot. 33% dry wet. And what this is gonna do, it's gonna make it sound slightly thinner, I guess, but it's also gonna emphasize the metallic character, and it gives it some more room and some more ambience, and that's good. You always want to have a little bit of that on your sounds. Then finally I have a glue compressor, which is just there to bring the level up, add some slight compression, which will in fact also bring up the metallic sounds, the metallic character that we created with the delay and the reverb, because it's actually bringing the loudest and quietest parts closer together. So now finally we will get this sound. And I can change the amount of milliseconds, let's say 22. Sounds immediately different, sounds thinner as well, 15 milliseconds. So you can hear how playing around with a delay can really emphasize the metallic character of a sound. And usually the biggest part of creating a metallic sound is just getting a patch that has high frequency content next to the low frequency content, because metallic sounds need high frequency content, and when you're then going to add that delay and reverb, it will only emphasize that particular part of the sound. When you have sounds that are mostly low end and mid, the delays and reverb might not be that useful, because it's not gonna emphasize the sound in a way that you think should happen or would happen if you do it. But yeah, it's one of the most important parts to creating these sounds, is adding that delay and reverb. It's really gonna bring out the metallic character. So that's it for this week's video. I hope you like it, and if you like this, subscribe to this channel. And I would like to know from you, what do you want to learn for Ableton Live? Tell me it in a comment below, or go to my Twitter, send me a tweet, and let me know what you want to learn about Ableton Live, and I'll do a video about it. There's a couple of things I'm thinking of doing. So if you want, just leave a comment and tell me which one you want most. I'm thinking about doing a tutorial about growl basses, or I'll do a tutorial about the basics of Ableton Live. So just do an entire course explaining all the basic things. Let me know in a comment which one you like more, and I hope to see you back in the next video. Peace.